Please go on there. Let me know when you're on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hold on. Mara, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Did you hear me? Okay, thank you. We're going to bring it over. Family to be
We're going to ask everyone to gather behind the chair, please. If I may have your attention, please, we're about to begin our service. If I could ask that everyone please take a moment to turn your cell phones to their silent mode before we begin. We will also ask that no one step in front of the camera. We are live streaming the service. Again, if everyone would take a moment to turn your cell phones to their silent mode.
Christine, we're going to do the cutting of the ribbon, so if you would rise. It is customary when we hear of the death of someone near and dear to us to cut part of our garment or to cut a ribbon that's on our garment as a sign of the tear and the loss in our lives. And yet it's also an opportunity to recite a blessing, a bracha, through which we bring God's presence into our lives in both good things that happen to us and the bad things that happen to us as well. And that is the reason that we recite the Kaddish prayer, by the way, to affirm God as our source of strength and comfort in all that happens to us. And so we will now say the blessing over the cutting of the ribbon. You can say it with me or after me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yan Ahemet. Praised are you, God, sovereign of the world, the true judge. And now just rip it with your hand. At times in life when it's difficult for us to find the words, times of triumph as well as times of despair, times of joy as well as times of sadness, times when we simply seek words of wisdom or words of prayer to guide us, we are very fortunate that we have in the Hebrew Bible 150 poems by King David and others known as the Tehillim, the Psalms, and it is customary to recite some passages from the Psalms, just as we were escorting Doug to his final resting place. We were chanting also from the Psalms, from Psalm 91, dwelling in the shelter of the Most High, abiding in the shadow of the Almighty. I call the Lord my refuge and my fortress. I say he is my God in whom I trust. Thus says the Lord, because you desire me, I will deliver you. I will save you because of your love for me. When you call to me, I will answer you. With you in time of trouble, I will strengthen you and honor you. And now we'll be hearing passages from other Psalms as well.
This is Psalm 121. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Esaenai, El Harim, Me'ayin, Me'ayin, Yavo Esri. Esaenai, El Harim, Me'ayin, Me'ayin, Yavo Esri. Esri, Me'im Adonai, Oseh Shamayim Ba'aretz, Ezri Me'im Adonai, Oseh Shamayim Ba'aretz. A song for ascents. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. Adonai will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your protection, a guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm and guard your life. Adonai guards your going and coming, now and forever.
And also from the Psalms, Kalash Eri Ulevavi, Sur Levavi Vehelki Elohim Leolam. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart. He is my portion forever. Adonai miyagur b'ohalecha miyishkon b'har kodshecha. O Lord, who shall dwell in your sanctuary, who shall abide upon your holy mountain? He who lives with integrity, does what is right, and speaks the truth in his heart, who has no slander upon his tongue, who does no evil to his fellow human beings, who does not reproach his neighbor. Whoever does these things shall stand firm forever. Adonai ma'onata hayita lanu bidor vador, b'terem harim yuladu vatkolel eretz v'tevel, umeolam ad olam ata el. O Lord, you have been our refuge from generation to generation. Before the mountains were born, before the earth was fashioned, from eternity to eternity you are everlastingly God. But mortals, you crumble to dust, you say, return, O 1,000 years are in your sight as a passing day, an hour of night. You sweep mortals away and they sleep. Like grass they flourish for a day, in the morning they sprout afresh. By nightfall they fade and wither. 70 our years may number, 80 years if granted the vigor. Laden with trouble and travail, life quickly passes and flies away. Who can measure the reverence due to you? Teach us to number all of our days, that we may attain a heart of wisdom. Relent, O Lord, how long must we suffer? Have compassion upon your servants. Grant us of your love in the morning, that we may joyously sing all our days. Match days of sorrow with days of joy, equal to the years we have suffered. Then your servants will see your power, then their children will know your glory. The favor of the Lord our God be upon us. He will establish the work of our hands. The work of our hands he will surely establish. We gather this afternoon to pay final tribute to a truly beloved husband, son, brother, uncle, cousin, friend, and colleague, Douglas Edward Kelner. Though we all hope for many more years with him among us in this earthly life, we are grateful for the gift and inspiration of his life among us. Doug was born in Trenton, New Jersey, and was proud of his hardworking parents, William and Rita Greenspan Kelner. His father, a World War II veteran, had an auto body shop, and his mother owned a dress shop. Though busy with their work, his parents made time to spend with him. His father showed him some of the most interesting cars that came into the shop, and Christine had the thought of the limousine, which is here, that represents some of those unusual vehicles that Doug would have loved. His father had made a point of earning a pilot's license, and Doug would later become a skillful flyer. Doug learned cooking from his dad. Doug was blessed with an older sister, Jan, whom he took under his wing even though he was the younger brother. Doug was blessed also with uncles and aunts, Leroy and Francis on his father's side, and Julian and Lenore on his mother's side, and cousins John, Alan, David, Jonathan, and Ellen. I hope I have all the names. As a child, Doug had a beautiful voice and a rare gift and talent for pitch and sound. Doug's vocal and musical gifts should be cultivated, one of his teachers advised his mother, and so his mother encouraged him to attend the Columbus Boys Choir School in Princeton. His perfect soprano voice won him the understudy position for the premiere tour of Amal and the Night Visitors, and later a 2-year stint in the same show at Radio City Music Hall, all as part of his schooling. He was well liked at school and kept in touch all his life with friends from there. At a young age, he began to master musical theory. Though he was not raised in a religious home, he did have a bar mitzvah ceremony at his mother's urging. He recalled learning his bar mitzvah portion, among other places, on a canoe with the rabbi at summer camp. His parents had belonged to a synagogue where he received some kind of Hebrew instruction, which stayed with him and gave him some cultural vocabulary. But the family logistics of the time required that they arranged for the bar mitzvah ceremony to take place at a Quaker meeting house in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. For high school, he attended Williston Academy in East Hampton, Massachusetts, which, by the way, is right near my hometown of Springfield, where he excelled at math and was a good all-around student. He was also well liked at Williston and maintained friendships from there. He was asked to manage the tennis and swim teams. Though he did not participate in those sports, his motivating spirit and organizational skills were prized by coaches and team members alike. He was a member of the Glee Club. He helped with school photography and became quite adept at setting up and using darkroom equipment. His high school yearbook also chronicles his involvement with the Caterwaulers singing group, with the athletic advisory board, and with the senior scholastic committee, all a tribute to his intelligence, leadership, effectiveness, and grace. Doug made lifelong connections with the students and faculty at Williston and attended many reunions through the years. He was especially inspired by his English grammar teacher, Mr. Shaler, whom he regarded as a good soul and an unsurpassed resource in the mastery of our. At school reunions, there was always a fun gross out Mr. Shaler day. At one of them, Doug wore a snake tie. Doug also kept in contact with the school's music director, Mr. Haley, who wrote a song that became classic for a cappella men's choruses. Little wonder that Doug was enthusiastically admitted to Johns Hopkins University, where he excelled at math and again became manager of a swim team on which he did not swim, but which he definitely managed well. Douglas went on to earn 2 master's degrees, one in operations research from Hopkins and one in finance at Carnegie Mellon. In grad school, Doug taught his roommates how to cook and shepherded them in sharing the household chores and in taking turns doing their meal preparations. In fact, he enjoyed teaching any friends who asked him how to cook, including hard dishes to prepare, like tongue. Little wonder that around 1973, he was enthusiastically recruited by Continental Bank, choosing Chicago because he felt that the pace would be more gentle than, say, the frenetic life that the New York option might have provided. In Chicago, he met Fran over a badminton game, and they were married for 13 years before they drifted apart. In Chicago, Douglas sought worthwhile outlets for his love of music, his well-trained musicality, and his beautiful tenor voice. He auditioned for the Apollo Club of Chicago Chorus, and little wonder that he was enthusiastically accepted by them. He continued to seek out opportunities for singing, both in religious settings and in choruses that perform music he regarded as timeless and challenging. One of Doug's auditioners for the Apollo Club Chorus was named Christine. She was impressed with his fine musicianship, genuine humility, kindness, and sense of humor during the 2 years they were in that chorus together, before Christine left to form another chorus, which she had co-founded. Doug remained in the Apollo Chorus for over a decade and was elected its president for a time. When they first met, Christine was already married and Doug was about to be married. Years later, after Christine and Doug had been divorced and on different paths, they met again in another chorus and began dating. They married on February 2nd, 1991. Theirs was a warm and loving home. Doug supported Christine in her work in musical education, publishing, and her interest in Italian and Spanish languages and culture. They maintained cordial relationships with Doug's ex-wife Fran and her second husband Alan, and all wished only happiness and well-being for each other. Doug got to know Christine's father, who was still living, though away shortly thereafter. Christine's dad made clear that he felt that she was in good hands with Doug. A cousin of Christine's aptly characterized Doug right away as a really nice person with a calming effect on all,
Judy, wherever she is. She's
Doug
too far.
joined the Chicago City Chorus, and Little Wonder was enthusiastically embraced by them. With his perfect pitch, sight-reading ability, dependable personality, and team spirit, he enhanced their program for over 10 years. Not surprisingly, he remained for 2 decades at the Continental Bank, where he became a vice president. When it was about to be absorbed by Bank of America, he took a position at LaSalle Bank, which he knew would suit him more than a corporate takeover bank. He loved his co-workers at LaSalle, which was in time taken over by Bank of America as well. The joke was that all banks are ultimately absorbed by Bank of America. Doug was an expert at risk management, pushing for support of small businesses like his parents that took pride in a product or service that they could successfully promote. Doug remained at Bank of America until he retired, though he was not happy with the takeover of LaSalle Bank. He made friends at Bank of America among coworkers and executives, surviving many cuts because he was so valued there. But the bank was highly compartmentalized and did not allow him to use all his skills at once. Still, when he retired, it required many people to carry out all the facets of his job. Loyalty and steadfastness were always important to Doug, whether in his personal life, professional life, or in his chorus work. He remained close to his sister Jan, who describes him as a fantastic brother, advisor, and companion. He taught her all about computers and cell phones soon after people started using them. They bonded even more after their father died in 1982. Doug was also a concerned and devoted uncle to Alyssa, to whom he gave his Johns Hopkins t-shirt, which she wore during her tween years. Alyssa recalls her uncle as considerate and a calming factor in the family, the expression often used of him, who helped everyone, she says, to remain level-headed, a good listener and reliable support, a super mensch. Doug was delighted to welcome Alyssa's husband, Edward Blumenthal, into the family, and then their children, Carly and Kyle. Christine and Jan and the entire family are grateful to Alyssa for her efforts in organizing the funeral in Shiva and for reaching out to Doug during his bouts with illness. As regards his chorus and choir work, Christine convinced the ever-loyal Doug that they could take different gigs, whether together or separately, and still be loyal to the main chorus in which they were involved. On the home front, Doug served as longtime trusted, needed, cherished president of their condo board. Doug and Christine loved to travel together and to experience different cultures around the world and in American life. They enjoyed visiting a lot of roller coasters and riding them, of course. Christine describes them as card-carrying members of a bona fide club for connoisseurs of roller coasters. Doug also appreciated the natural world and its topographies and the human visual arts and architecture whenever they traveled. Wherever they traveled, they made time to visit friends and relatives who were always delighted to see them, including, of course, cousins and relatives on Christine's side. And Doug and Christine cherished these detours. Some of these trips were built around wonderful reunion events with high school and college friends. Doug always liked to travel and was, as Christine put it, a continental guy. He adapted well to Zoom reunions also, in which he and Christine participated with friends from choral groups and with friends and family from all around. Sometimes Doug and Christine participated in Broadway programs, though they preferred the classics. At one delightful program in 1999, they performed at the home of the interior designer for their condo, Sandy Mead. One of the attendees was a distinguished local musical figure, the founder and head of Chicago a cappella, Jonathan Miller. Jonathan was impressed with both Doug and Christine, whom he had met, and marveled at Doug's excellent memory for words. Jonathan thought that the word, memory, and voice, actually the two voices, might work for Hebrew, for he learned of Christine's capacity for language, and asked them both to join the Rotate Tzedek choir, which needed a good soprano and tenor. Christine says that she and Doug jumped at the opportunity to sing at a synagogue. The rest, as they say, was history, and I dare say that it enhanced the cause of good Jewish liturgical music, both on the South Side and in Chicagoland in general and beyond. Christine says that she and Doug complemented one another like hand and glove. She says that he was the most wonderful person she met in life and finds comfort and support in her awareness that we all know that Doug merited such high praise for his character and deeds. As Christine put it, he was a person filled with the milk of human kindness and humility, who always had all his ducks in a row, given his methodical and tenacious nature, in which his kindness and grace and humor were always apparent and delightful. We all know that Christine doesn't exaggerate when she says that anyone could behold and be certain of these qualities in Doug after the first 2 minutes or less of meeting him. Profoundly inspiring, though profoundly sad also, is that Doug battled ravaging cancers, more than one, even amidst his many work obligations and activities and friendship, and that there was no diminishment of his spirit, kindness, productivity, and community involvements. In fact, he used his many acquired skills and interests to hold sickness in check. A doctor complimented him, for example, on his singer's breathing techniques, which helped him to fight certain side effects during pain and treatment. He was steadfast in attending for 14 years every wellness house meeting in Hillsdale to gain and to share insight into fighting cancer, finding mutual support with other patients and their family members. Christine accompanied him to many of these meetings. She supported him in every way during his illness, literally adding years to his life and providing him with the best and most loving and encouraging quality of life. Christine always said that she was grateful to have Doug and would marry him again and again. She proved it, although no one had any doubt that she meant it, by marrying him a second time in a Jewish ceremony in February 2011, at which I was privileged to officiate. After much soul searching and study on her own, Christine resolved to become a Jew by choice through formal classes and conversion, and to have a Jewish wedding. Doug encouraged her in every way, attending every class with her and embracing the opportunity to learn about Jewish belief and practice, filling in the gaps from his childhood. They studied Hebrew together, and in more recent years, they learned Torah trope from Shirley Holbrook and read directly from the Torah scrolls at the synagogue. Much to the honor and delight of the congregants at Rotate Tzedek, they became members of our synagogue. They were already close to Cantor Julius and Ali Solomon and to many of the synagogue people, and then to Cantor Rachel and Chuck Rosenberg, and to Rabbi David and Alyssa Minkus. Doug was invited to become a member of the synagogue board of directors. It was not long before he was improving the financial systems of the synagogue with Sarah Siegel-Lovey, with whom he enjoyed working closely, and also the live stream camera work with Mitch Brown and program director Hannah Kaiser.
And so Jewish life benefited immeasurably from the input, to use a technical term, of our most beloved self-styled techno nerd, as Doug called himself, Douglas Kelner. At Christine's and Doug's wedding, I spoke of the biblical quality of Nadiv Lev, the giving heart, which both of them possess. Christine says that one of Doug's most endearing qualities and actions was to set aside time each month to do his research and to donate to charities. He was truly about tzedakah, a person dedicated to sharing with others, to establish a world of tzedek, a more just world. The psalmist says that the future belongs to the Ish Shalom, the man of peace, and that the righteous will be remembered always for their generosity and graciousness. So we can say of Douglas Edward Kelner, may he rest in peace. All remember Doug as generous and gentle, a man of peace, a good and righteous individual. May his memory always be a blessing for us, even as we affirm in our faith a life beyond this earthly life without pain and suffering. Amen.
Amen.
From the work of Ben Sira, some words of wisdom from 2,000 years ago. Fear not death, we are destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived, with all who ever will be. Bewail the dead, hide not your grief. Do not restrain your mourning. But remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. Seek not to understand what is too difficult for you. Search not for what is hidden from you. Be not overoccupied with what is beyond you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are man's few days in eternity. The good things in life last for limited days, but a good name endures forever.
Before Jonathan Miller and I chant Psalm 23, I wanted to just share with Christine, I don't know if she remembers this, but I knew Doug at Continental Bank, where I also worked. I worked with Doug at Continental Bank, and so it was a huge thrill to get to know him again in our work-based family. Yes, they're true, and I'm anxiously awaiting my pension from Bank of America.
Good luck with it.
Psalm 20. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, b'hinot asher biteni, al mei menufot yenalehi, nafshi yeshoveh, nafshi yeshoveh, yancheni v'maglei tzedek leman shemo, ki elech b'geitz ha'maver, lo irara, ki ata imadi, shivtecha umishantecha, shivtecha umishantecha, hema yenachamoni, taroch lefanai shulchan, taroch lefanai shulchan, taroch lefanai shulchan, neged sorerai, dishantav Hashem shemen roshi, dishantav Hashem roshi, Ishanta v'shemen, shemen roshi, kosi revaya. Aftov v'chesed, yirdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, le'orech yamim. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Read together. In
The Lord is my shepherd.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We rise for the memorial prayer. El Malay. El Malay Rachamim Shochen Bameromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina B'ma'alot Kedoshim Utohim Kezoar Harakiya Mazhirim Et Nishmat David Ben Velvelvareta Shalach Leolamo Began Eden Tehe Menuchato Ana Bal Harachamim Hastireu Beseter Knafecha Leolamim Ustror B'Kror Chaim Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato V'yanuchu B'Shalom V'yanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkafo V'nomar Amen. El Malay Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of our beloved Doug Kelner, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. And let us say,
Amen.
In just a moment, we'll participate in that aspect of our service which our sages described as the chesed shel emet, the true act of loving kindness, that of personally placing earth upon the grave of one who can no longer do some things for us in this earthly life, but whom we want to honor with that personal touch, literally, at this time of burial. And while the preparations are being made, there are a few prayers, concluding prayers to be recited. Hatzur tamim pioloki koderachav mishpat, elemuna v'yenavel tzadik v'yashar hu. Hatzur tamim b'chol po, hamiomalo matifal. Hashalit b'mata v'ma'al, memit v'mechaye morit shoel v'ya'al. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach Hishem Adonai mivorach. Behurach u'micha peravo v'lo yashkit v'yebala yashiva po v'lo ya'ir kol hamato. Who can understand the ways of the rock, whose works are perfect? The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away. Praise be the name of the Lord.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Vayashov ha'afar al ha'aretz k'shehaya, v'haruach tashuv el ha'elohim asher nitana. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns unto God who gave it. May the soul of Douglas Edward Kelner be bound up in the bond of life eternal. Send comfort, O Lord, to those who mourn. Grant strength to those whose burden is sorrow. O merciful God, our refuge and redeemer, and let us say, Amen.
It's for Israel. As soon as they finish praying. Everyone does. Yeah, the three of you, right? Everybody knows.
Okay, so family, I need everyone to move back behind the tent. That sounds good to me. Family too? Behind the tent.
The family also?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. John took care of it. John got that. Right now.
We can move the chair with us. We can move the chair with us.
You're going to put that in before they put the lid on.
I am family.
Down, look your family. He's just going to put some birthday.
My father, Douglas, my father, two nephews.
Yes, I'm going to stay here with you.
David? Can I have a chair? David. David, here. Oh, you got a chair for me. Okay. Oh, I'm okay, thanks.
Safety, security. Sweetheart, she's okay. You know I'm not.
She's okay.
Oh, no. She was just got too high.
Listen, he went and said, listen. No,
They did not. They are still not taking her to the
not at all. She just
It's hot out here. She got overheated. Yeah, she's good. I checked on her twice.
Johnny checked on her.
She's good. It's hot out here.
Very hot. And it's
But
emotional.
we're also trying to move this along.
Please with her too. Please with her.
Sitting in the car seat, she's two medics there.
She's fine.
Gentlemen, are you going to move the wall?
Yeah, we're just
I
waiting
just
for
wanted
that.
to wait for
Yeah, she's fine.
the earth and until you're done.
Waiting for him back in, and we're taking our pictures.
Doug graduated from prep school. Dad had a heart attack. Dad graduated college. He told me to graduate. That's why we don't.
It's easy to get back in school back
I just teach GED and unfortunately. Oh. I'll go and check and see if she wants to come back on that. Okay. Yeah.
Gentlemen, is it okay if she puts the earth in now?
Right, okay. As soon as the initial earth from Israel is placed, we will recite the mourner's Kaddish, traditionally done at the point of burial, which does not mention death, but is a prayer in which we affirm God as our source of strength and comfort, no matter what we have to face in life. And it reminds us that and it is a prayer also for the establishment of God's sovereignty in this world, reminding us that even when we can affirm God as our source of comfort and strength, even especially when we've lost someone near and dear to us, then we establish the kingdom or the sovereignty of God in our hearts and in the world. We shall recite now the mourner's Kaddish.
Which is on the back of your service folder.
It's in the back of the service folder. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'almad yifrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayeir kol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpuar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'yimromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Magnified and sanctified be the name of God throughout the world which he has created. May his sovereignty be established speedily, yea, soon in our time. May God who makes peace in the heavens above make peace, inspire peace here on earth. May the God of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And we greet the mourners with the ancient greeting to mourners. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'tok sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the Almighty comfort you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Amen. And as I said, in just a moment, you'll be able to participate. The earth is there on that truck at the side, and people will be able to take a shovel from there. It's customary in the Chicago area for people not familiar with the custom to have a vault upon the grave because it has to do with the terrain and so on. And so as soon as that is placed, we will place the earth.
Shiva will be observed at the Kelner residence at 721 Ontario Street, Unit 110 in Oak Park, today upon return from the cemetery until 9 p.m., and then Thursday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Services will be held each evening at 7:30. As Rabbi said, as soon as the gentlemen are completed their work, everyone will be invited to come forward and place 3 measures of earth into the grave. If you do not wish to stay and participate, you may return to your cars. Thank you.
So when you put your Jordan, throw it in the that's all, right?
Yeah.
That's you, right?
Yeah, she. So.
The last person that goes to your house, I mean, I know she was supposed to that was the joke I
At this time, we're going to invite the family members first to come forward and place 3 measures of earth, and then we'll invite everyone else to follow behind, please. Please be very, very mindful of your footing near the grave. Go ahead. 3 measures, right there, 3 measures of earth. Doesn't have to be a lot. Folks, more than one person can go. There are 3 shovels. So anyone who would like to come forward, please do so. You may also use your hand if you're uncomfortable with the shovel.
Before you go.
Brother, my knee is hurting, my nose is starting. It's coming.
Rick?
You can also come around on this side. Grab a shovel. Do you see her?
Folks, if you can form another line on the other side of the little tractor, you can use the other shovel, and 2 people can go at the same time, please.
What?
Watch your step. Watch your step. I would recommend going around that way. Family.
I'm going to head back. Sandy actually gave me a lift over here with her car because the line was so long, so I'm going to go back with her. But I will see you later. I'll see you on Sunday, for sure. Yeah, all right. Get home safe, okay?
I was out of town. That's what I was doing. For a man that is such somebody his life.
Family, as soon as you're done, you can take it right out this side.
Folks, once you've participated, we'll ask that you please return to your cars.
Are you in the Chicago?
No, I grew up in Boston.
I said I still remember doing this in the back.
But I've been here for quite a while.
Wanted do them justice. He deserved it. I wish we could have postponed it for 20 more years. But what can you do?
Thank you for that statement.
Well, I don't think I'm going to wield a shovel, so, and I think it is going to rain pretty soon.